Is it really the duty and the rule of a monetary institution like the Swiss National Bank to subsidize artificially Swiss exports, goods and services? I definitely have those doubts.
So in mid-April, the Swiss franc depreciated a lot against the euro from 1.07 to 1.14. But is it a good time for investors to invest in Swiss francs?
Definitely. We would definitely have the sentiment that currently, at current level, it's not a weakness of the Swiss franc. It's more a strength of the euro. For us, it appears that the euro at the current level is slightly overpriced compared to Swiss francs. But finally, it's a decision of the market. And market is currently telling us that the Swiss francs should be fairly priced at 1.14. But it's based on fundamentals, it's a good entry point for Swiss investors and also, to a certain extent, for European investors to enter Swiss francs at those levels, yes.
Now, compared to foreign countries, is the Swiss bank artificially lowering prices?
I would say not anymore like it was the case in 2015. And I can remember being here in September 2014 and saying the peg at 120 is unsustainable. And definitely it was not the duty and the rule of the Swiss National Bank to fix a peg, because we are a very open-minded economy. And if you put some peg within the system, you are to a certain extent subsidizing Swiss exports. Is it really the duty and the rule of a monetary institution like the Swiss National Bank to subsidize artificially Swiss exports, goods and services? I definitely have those doubts.
So is it the duty of the SNB to partially cover those inefficiencies?
Yes, I mean, the Swiss National Bank has different rule. At first, his main objective is to protect the Swiss economy from inflation. It can be imported inflation, it can be system-driven inflation. That's the main objective of the Swiss National Bank. Another objective could be also actually the long-term growth of the Swiss economy. Is it the duty or the main duty of the Swiss National Bank to look after economic development? I would say it should be more facilitating the development of the Swiss economy with a monetary policy which is more a guidance than a pure monetary principle. We should have a guidance. The Swiss National Bank has the rule to avoid shocks, to avoid external shocks, could be forex shocks and things like this. And I think they are currently changing their mind. They are much more cautious in terms of communication policy than they were previously, where they were just affirming some facts. Currently, they are much more giving guidance and no more saying, it's overpriced or it's undervalued or, yeah, maybe we should. No, they are much more cautious in their statements. And we have some inefficiencies in the Swiss economy. We have trade balance surpluses, we have current account surpluses, which is fine. We have even budget surpluses to a certain extent. Swiss National Bank is even contributing to those financial surpluses, directly or indirectly. But we have other inefficiencies within the economy, and one of the inefficiencies of the Swiss economy is actually the very small investment capacity, the capex activity compared to the overall GDP. Our Swiss corporates are not investing enough in capex. And investing in capex today is the economic growth of tomorrow because of efficiency gains, of productivity gains. And therefore, we need to facilitate those capex, and you can facilitate capex and making some inducements or some facilities for investing is to have a high Swiss francs, because it's going to force the industries, can be the service industry, can be the product industry, to invest in new capex, in new investments, in order to make this economy growing faster in the future.
So could this all affect monetary policy?
Yes, definitely. I think the mistakes that were having taken place at that time in 2014, just after the European crisis, where the Swiss National Bank decided to peg the Swiss franc to the euro at 120 was definitely a mistake. And this will therefore definitely affect the style of the monetary policy, where probably the Swiss National Bank will look much more on how the economy is developing, how the Swiss banking industry also is reacting and developing over the long trend, in order to be like much more somebody that is guiding you than an institution that is imposing its view.
Well, thank you so much for coming to the studio and talking about the Swiss franc. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you at home for watching. Don't forget to click back and subscribe. I'm Kaz Kahil. Goodbye for now.